You got there in the end.
Back there to the final frontier with Star Trek Picard. Here we are again. So this is the regular slot where we keep up with Star Trek, with everything that's going on out there in the 25th century. I've been corrected. This is set in 2401, Ian. So that's the year that this series is set. Did you know that?
No.
Me neither. I didn't know this until yesterday, but apparently so. So we're back on the final frontier with the
star dates anymore, do they?
No, not for the time being. I think that they'll probably come back in time, won't they? But 2401 is where we are for this big reunion of the cast of The Next Generation. They're slowly coming together, aren't they, across this 10-part season. And this is our continuing mission to keep track with Trek as it works towards its conclusion. So we've had 4 episodes before we get to this point. I keep telling people that, in my view, each episode of Star Trek Picard seems better than the last. And you think, can it possibly continue this upward curve? Something's got to collapse in on itself at some point. But it does seem not. Yeah. So this time we're going to talk about this one. So this is episode 5, Imposters, and this was the premise. It says, caught by Starfleet and facing court-martial, paranoia grows as Picard struggles to uncover whether a prodigal crewman from his past has returned as an ally or an enemy hell-bent on destroying them all. Imposters is written by Dan Liu, directed by Cindy Apple and Chris Derrick. So this one was, well, they've all been full of surprises, but I think this one in particular, I've been very able to avoid all spoilers. Star Trek Picard, once it became clear that this was a show that probably was going to be worth watching. We were promised that there were going to be plenty of surprises, and this one really, really delivered. Of all the characters from the past of Star Trek, from the 24th century shows that we were going to see again, I think that Ensign Ro Laren, Matt, was probably at the bottom of the list of people I thought they would get, simply because the actress that played her then and plays her again in Imposters, Michelle Forbes, has gone on to do so many things, hasn't she?
Yeah, well, when she initially came on screen, I was like, is it? No. Is it? Is it? Because it had some she had some familiarity from, and I was like, yeah, that's Ro Laren, So I was like, oh, this will be interesting. I wasn't expecting that at all, but I thought she wouldn't last long. So.
Well, I had to really think back, because obviously I bought every single Star Trek on VHS, all those seasons back there in the 90s. I followed that character all the way through. But even though I've watched TNG all the way through at least 3 times, possibly 4, I couldn't remember how her story had ended.
I did.
I did.
Yeah. And you know what, right? This episode was very, very... There was a scene in there when they went into the holodeck, and it was a very moving scene between them both. I don't know what you thought, Dan, but that was very moving.
Well, I'd forgotten. I think that it was up until we got Patrick Stewart and Michelle Forbes together that I remembered that relationship between those two characters. Yeah. That he'd taken that kind of mentor role with her, because she wasn't on the show for as long as I think they'd initially planned. She was
on an entire season, and she was originally supposed to spin off into Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, and then she got replaced, didn't she? She got replaced by another actress, and I can't.
Yeah, because she didn't. I don't think she wanted to do it. Apparently, but
she got snapped for a big movie at the time with Brad Pitt and David Duchovny called California. And so, if you've ever seen that film. So that's why she didn't continue with the part, and why Kieran Reese was created, played by Nana Visitor, instead for Deep Space Nine. So that was the end for Ro. I think she did make a couple of appearances later on. I don't know whether that was in her original contract or an arrangement that they came to amongst themselves. But yeah, it just stirs up lots and lots of memories. And obviously, I've kept track of Michelle Forbes' career since. She was on Battlestar Galactica for a time, wasn't she, Matt? On the remake of Galactica.
I wouldn't know. I don't like that show at all. I don't like Battlestar Galactica remake at all.
I haven't watched it.
She played like the commander of an entire battle star. So it was a very, very strong character. Obviously, she was a good 15 years old.
She's a very strong actress.
Yeah, I'd forgotten how good she was. I think she's been in the X-Files, all sorts of stuff that she's been in over the years.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But she was the highlight of this episode for me.
Oh yeah.
But even so, it was an episode like all of them that was full of highlights. Like I said, the moment where she turned up, I wasn't expecting her to be there, and to see again Patrick Stewart. We've commented about how he's looking his age and he sounds his age.
He does.
But the better material is bringing out I believe the strength, that well of experience, where he's able to, I suppose, from his own life and from other parts that he's played, as well as his 35-year connection to Picard himself, he's able to bring all of that to pretty much every scene. He seems so energized and engaged by the material.
I mean, you're absolutely right, Dan. I mean, he's really old, and in his voice you can tell that he's quite old. But that scene in 10 forward in the holodeck thing was really good. He was obviously, you can tell he's struggling to actually get his strength out there, but it was a really good performance by him and by the actress, which I can't remember her name. But overall, it was a really good episode, I found. I don't know what you guys.
How are you finding this plot? Because it starts, doesn't it, with they recover the body of the changeling that Seven had killed in the previous episode. That it had copied Sidney LaForge, hadn't it? And so they start to perform the post-mortem. It's a typical sort of body snatcher infiltration kind of story, isn't it, that we have seen in other TV shows and films. How do you feel about it in this? Is it because I suppose we're here for the characters, really, aren't we? But the plot isn't inconsequential, but it is what's going on around the outside. Are they selling you on this plot, on this conspiracy?
I'm all in for this. I mean, it's an interesting story about them taking over Federation and stuff like that. I like the idea that now they can't detect them, because now they've developed how to. They've
got a circulatory system.
Yeah. And
also, that actually answered my question from the previous week, in that how come they could just shoot them straight in the chest and they drop dead.
Yeah.
So
but it is a good episode as far as I'm concerned, and again, I'm really sad that Patrick Stewart is the age that he is, because his performance is really stunted in this. It really isn't the Picard that I know, but that can't be helped, obviously. I mean, the guy who plays Riker, he's still Riker. He still has the strength to play Riker, but it's just, as I said, he's definitely shown his age now. He hardly moves in these episodes as well. I don't know if you've noticed that. He hardly moves. A lot. Yeah, so apart from that, though, as I said,
probably even on the first series.
Yeah.
I was surprised when we were discussing the last episode, and I think it was Andy who said that Jonathan Frakes is 70 himself.
Yeah.
I would never have he's still a very physically capable man, isn't he? Quite clearly.
Yeah, he still has that strength inside him that he's Riker. As I said, unlike Patrick Stewart, who you can hear his voice is croaking and whatever. It kind of spoilt my enjoyment a bit, but still, I'm still on board to see what's going to happen next in this series. So it's still engaging to me, So there you go.
Well, this is quite a turnaround. So this is episode 5. I remember episode 1. You were far from convinced, weren't you, Ian? You were very much in the camp of, well, it's better than what we've had recently, but you weren't blown away. But over the weeks, I'm
not blown away. It's just, it's still not real Star Trek, because they're using colourful metaphors, which to quote Captain Kirk and Spock. But that takes me out of it. When they do things like that, it takes me out of it. And also when they have all those dark shots, that takes me out of it as well. But I have to kind of tune off to go, okay, well, it is a different Star Trek, so at least it's not crap like the other 2 seasons. This has a story going through it, and I kind of appreciate it, really. So, and I like this fella here. I keep forgetting his name.
Who disappeared for the entire episode, and then it's like, oh, can you get him out of the cupboard for us at the end?
He was
that was the
chilling
other
out
one.
in his
That was the other
room.
place.
He was chilling out in his room.
I do like the fact that he's a very strong character.
He is.
But obviously, they have to turn characters like this up and turn them down.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened on the original shows either. They weren't all present all the time, were they? And I would imagine that Captain Shaw will have his own arc in this series as well as it reaches its conclusion. I don't think he's been forgotten about at all. Every time he speaks, you sort of hang on his every word. You know, it's either going to be moving or amusing, or make you think, oh, you know, this guy's full of you know what. And the Titan as well, the ship. I know there's a lot of people out there who really wish this was the Enterprise, but I'm starting to get really fond of this ship. I think it's got a character all of its own. It looks so formidable.
I don't know. A lot of people like this, but to me, it's just a CGI in the computer. It's not something physical. I said this before. Yeah. I prefer the models. You know, something about a model. I don't know. I'll stop there. But design's okay.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. I know that they can make large models and do on some productions of spacecraft, don't they? And they sort of augment them with CGI.
Well,
but
it was
like...
Voyager, wasn't it? That was the first one to be CGI.
I think so. I think you're right, Matt.
I think there were physical props of Voyager, but I think they were nowhere near as big as they'd had in the TNG era. I can't quite remember.
Also, the reason why the CGI looks acceptable but doesn't look spectacular is because I learned a couple of days ago. Remember the film Star Trek, the one JJ did, the first movie. The reason why that, you know, the ship that appears, that was the Romulan ship in the movie. The reason why it looks so expansive and so big is because in the computer they designed it with that size in mind. Do you know what I mean? So they literally made it that size in the computer. So you can go into it and it looks really big. But with TV CGI, they design it such a way. They don't design it as the size that it's supposed to be. So do you understand what I'm saying? So it's like having a model of a smaller size of it. That's why it doesn't look huge. It doesn't look like it's like a huge.
It doesn't look cavernous. No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, so that's the reason why, I guess. But you know, because to do something like that, you need a lot of processing power, I guess. But this isn't a movie; it's a TV thing, and I guess they've got a budget, haven't they? So. Because it takes longer to do something like that. So anyway, sorry, I'll stop there.
No, I agree. Well, in this episode, we also see Raffi and Worf continue their investigation.
Yeah,
don't they? And they return back to the gangster world, where they now think they're going to be big shots, but they're quickly apprehended by the sort of gangster Vulcan, aren't they? And they fight to the death. And again, you know, I can't believe that I fell for this because
I didn't fall for it.
I get really invested. I get really wrapped up in these things, and so when she stabbed him, I knew that Worf wasn't going to die because I've seen pictures of him from later episodes. But I don't know. I'm very convinced by the bond between these two characters. I think Michael Dorn has slipped back into this character as effortlessly as you would think. He played. Apparently, he was in 175 episodes. I think 175 episodes of various Trek
more
shows.
Than that, wouldn't it? I'm pretty sure it's more than that.
It could be 275.
He's also in the movie, wasn't he?
He's appeared as well. In that character more. He's done more screen time than any other Star Trek character played by the same actor ever. So I suppose putting the makeup on and swinging that bat'leth, it's probably is going to come second nature to him. But he's really brought out the best too in Michelle, who plays Raffi. This is a character that I don't think any of us are going to ever be completely on board with.
I don't like her still.
But I'm not sure if I do or not. But at least now I feel like I'm getting to know her. She's starting to round out as a character, which I think is due to the patience. So? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think that's down to the patience of the actress and the fact that she's working. This is some of the cast of the first two seasons were
she's working.
But the thing I don't like
with people.
She doesn't humble herself. She doesn't listen, and she's always arrogant to a point where it's becoming silly now. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully she'll calm down, and because that's the reason why I don't like her.
It's only taken her 3 seasons.
Yeah, that's the reason why I don't like her. Even even when Worf is telling her something that makes sense, and even when she's talking to the hierarchies as well, she's still arrogant.
And her attitude is still irritating.
Yeah, it is. It is. Sorry, carry on, Dan.
Well, I do wonder if it's a character that's also, could meet an untimely end. Are they going to redeem her somehow? Is she going to have an end point, have a destiny?
Please
in this?
let her go.
We can only hope.
That'd be the end of that. That'd kill any tie to the original Picard season.
Because working with Worf does seem to be transforming her, and obviously she's not a juvenile, she's not a character, she's not his apprentice as such, but she's obviously somebody who's at a crossroads in life, isn't she? And she's looking for direction. Her career sort of ended, or it's in an impasse. Her relationship has ended. Her family she's estranged from, and she's sort of latched onto Worf, who's a character who was in turmoil a lot of the time that we spent with him on both the Enterprise and Deep Space Nine. He was always in turmoil. Now, ironically, seems to have found some peace.
Apparently. Still chopping people's heads off, though.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. You get a character like Worf to kick some ass as well, don't you? Yeah. So we've got Michelle Forbes back there as Ro. I did wonder if they weren't going to have her as some sort of main villain all the way through, but I was happy to see that in the course of this, that herself and Picard, they were able to lay down their arms and settle their differences and reach a point where they could connect again quite quickly. They could move the plot along and get to the heart of their relationship and make us feel something. Make us feel something in, because that's the truth in these situations. Even though they're set in the 25th century or wherever, we've got to still feel like we're following human beings, aren't we, or people at least.
Yeah, it's all about the relationship. It's all about the characters. At the end of the day, you can put. Mandalorian's proved it, hasn't it? Special effects are terrific in Mandalorian, but the actual story and the characters are non-existent. But in this Star Trek, these characters are, you really do care about them. Really, let's face it. I care about what's his name, Riker. I want Riker to live. I actually want Picard's son to overcome what he's suffering, basically. So
his illness.
Because I'm warm to him. He's arrogant, yes, but he's also very heroic. That's the thing about him.
I used to find Commander Riker, quite a cheesy character. Yeah. And I wouldn't say I ever hated him, but he was the one member of the crew where I kind of tolerated him.
Yeah.
And I think that over the years, I don't think I realised how much I did like him, how much I respect the character, and how much work Jonathan Frakes put into developing him over so many years.
Yeah, but I think so. But I think the idea when they brought Star Trek back was to split Captain Kirk into two, right?
Yeah.
And so basically have the intelligent Captain Kirk, which is Picard, and the one that runs into danger and is a real kind of,
makes love to the ladies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought that was Riker, so I thought it was quite a good idea. He's a number one. Do you know what I mean, sort of thing. So I thought it was quite good like that, and he's still like that now, isn't he?
I think that was the idea, wasn't it? That Patrick Stewart as Picard would mostly be on the bridge, and Riker would go down to the planets and he'd swing the leg.
I think Riker came into his own when the whole thing with the Borg happened. I think once he stepped up to that mark, it was like, and he could actually make the decisions.
Well, as I understand it, Matt, they didn't believe that the production team didn't believe that the audience would buy Patrick Stewart as a strong masculine lead, based on the fact I'm just realised who I'm addressing this to, based on the fact that he's bald.
Yeah.
And so, if you remember, so they, in fact, initially they knew they got the right actor, but they had Patrick Stewart was fitted for several weeks before they eventually decided not to go with one. But they were reluctant to feature him as the actual heroic lead, because they felt that people wouldn't accept a hero who hadn't got hair, which seems mental now. Of course they did, they wanted more of him.
Oh, look, I mean, a lot of people point out that I'm bald all the time, and it's like, well, it's like second nature to me. It's like, yes, I am, and it doesn't affect me whatsoever. I'm still the same person, It's like Ian being black. It's like, it's pointing out the obvious, and a lot of people try to, use that against us, and it's. I think at that time. There wasn't that many. The only other bald person that had been on television at the time was I never even thought about Kojak, but I was thinking about Kung Fu, Carradine, with the bald cap.
Yeah. So but now, Matt, you've got people like Jason Statham.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a real sexy thing. I mean, even Patrick Stewart, wasn't he named sexiest man of the year at some stage in England or whatever?
That's the thing. I think what made
you have no idea where the hormones
wasn't it? Was his intelligence together with him that made the audience gravitate towards Picard. He was intelligent. He was heroic. In all that package. That he was a hero. He's definitely a hero. He's like one of the best captains in Star Trek. Period. Let's face it. So, it does work with him, and also because he's British and he has that kind of thing about him. The command.
He has that nose, hasn't he?
The command when he speaks. So yeah, it's cool.
You could tell he would actually, even back in the 17th century or something like that. You could see him commanding a ship. I mean, he's just got that British sensibility about him. So yeah.
We've got a comment here from Cybermat Strikes watching on YouTube who says, I was hoping Worf would take Raffi out. I don't like that character either.
Nobody likes that. Well, I don't know anyone that likes him.
Yeah, I was right. It's 275 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks there from
also, don't forget that Michael Dorn played his own relative in Star Trek 6, didn't he?
Undiscovered Country.
Yeah. It's crazy, right? Absolutely crazy.
That was great to see him in that, though.
It was, yeah, it was. It was fantastic.
We also got to see a pretty slick new starship in this. The Intrepid, the USS Intrepid. We have had a USS Intrepid in Star Trek before in the original series, which I think was a Constitution class starship. But in this, it's like some sort of dreadnought, isn't it, Matt? The dogfight.
Was that actually? What I want to know is, was that actually being ran by the what do you call them? The changelings.
The founders, the changelings.
Yeah, because I think that if there was a lot of people that were like, you have to fire on your own ship, there'd be a lot of questions. I mean, why would they? Just because of Ro attacking that ship, it was Ro that did it. So why would they start? It's like
that's what Ro was saying to Picard. She was saying that it's gotten worse. They're everywhere,
infiltrated everywhere.
Yeah. So they could tell that. So, for instance, if that ship's run by some of the changelings, right? There could be humans on board, but all the changelings have to say is tell them some stupid story and turn it around. And obviously they're gonna follow, aren't they? That's probably what they did. Because when the little thing smashed into that ship, they probably said, "Oh, they're attacking us. Yeah, we have to stop them." You know what I mean? And the humans just follow through, wouldn't they? So,
I don't know.
Every time they do this, and we've seen this a few times in Trek over the years, they'll put a starship, the hero ship, usually the Enterprise, against a starship that is 5 times its size. Star Trek Into Darkness did that ridiculously, I suppose. Was it called the Dreadnought in Into Darkness? Something like that. It was a very similar kind of thing. But the Intrepid, I thought, looked a lot better on screen. And when they squared up to one another, it did seem like the Titan. You fear for that little ship.
The Titan's not even a battleship, is it? It's just was it?
No, it's meant for discovery and science.
Yeah, so it doesn't really have any stuff in it.
Which is what they were always meant to be, anyway.
It's a David versus Goliath thing, isn't it? So,
you know what
I mean? So that's what they're trying to do. So the little ship that could, you know what I mean? So there you go.
So it concludes with Ro, Commander Ro now. Is it Commander Ro? Commander Ro makes the ultimate sacrifice, doesn't she? And plows her shuttle into the nacelle.
She had a bit of plastic surgery, because that really, really annoyed me. Because I think that's initially the reason why I didn't quite recognize her at the beginning, was the whole circumcision bit at the top. You know what? She had a more prominent nose in the original series, and I know, you know, they adjust things and that, but it was just probably a little bit too much.
It's Hollywood.
I suppose prosthetics have moved on quite a lot, haven't they? And
No, I don't think it was a matter of the prosthetics. It was a matter of what it actually had. She had this like a round thing at the round tip at the top. If you got those earlier photos, Dan, you can see it. You can see it so prominent. It's just the fact, you know, it just look. I think they tried to make her look like more like Kira Nerys. You know, it just didn't. I didn't quite realize who it was, and I think that may have had something to do with it.
Maybe it was the actress that had plastic surgery on her nose.
No, see, look, see the round thing on the forehead. You know, she's had that like whole thing trimmed, and
she's had a mole removed as well.
Oh, yes, you're right.
As I said, maybe it's the actress that's had plastic surgery, and that's why she looks a bit different. Because, you know, in Hollywood, a lot of women that reach the age, they do have extensive plastic surgery. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe it's just that she's old, and, you know.
Maybe her mole's moved all the way up the back.
But I mean, it's obvious that the woman that plays Crusher has had extensive surgery, hasn't she, on her face? So it's obvious that she's had it. So
another thing that really annoyed me was the fact that Riker never even brought up the fact that he'd slept with her.
How's he going to bring that up, Matt? He's going to go to Picard. You know what, Picard?
Yeah, but it didn't. He didn't even go, oh, we've had things in the past and all that sort of thing. Never even mentioned it at all. You know.
Yeah, you'll come up with that. But that was a good scene, though. That was a good scene where she sacrificed herself. Just goes to prove
a bit
that.
Slow, wasn't it?
No,
That was probably the slowest. Just bloody aim at the thing.
But there could have been scenes that were edited out of this, you know, for some sort of late night transmission where Riker nudges Picard and says, "Hey, I rearranged the guts for her." No, it's I don't think it's that kind of humor. I can't see how it would have arisen, any kind of locker room talk like that. You know,
I think there were more important things.
I really felt this moment though when, it does seem really obvious now that was going to happen. But I got suckered in by this, and seeing this character who was only a small, medium part of TNG. Her last moments on screen, probably. I mean, Denise Crosby's come back several times, hasn't she, as various versions of Tasha Yar. But I'd say this is probably the last we're ever going to see of Ro Laren. And she takes out the nacelle just to get a little bit of a head start there for the crew of the Titan. It's a great moment, a good way to go out in a show like Star Trek, I think. And this vessel, the Intrepid, I do love a good starship, and this is gorgeous. It's, the secondary hull sort of moves slightly under. It looks like the trigger. It looks like a great big phaser, doesn't it? Like you could fire.
Like a phaser with a circle on it. Yeah.
Yeah, you could fire the top off it and skim it across the kitchen, fire it at your mum when she's doing the ironing or something like that. It'd be good,
I don't know. I mean, they're very sleek. That's the one thing I really don't like about these new ones. They're too sleek. Do you know what I mean? I do prefer the Constitution class versions.
It gets worse, doesn't it, though, Ian? When you see the future the future Enterprises and that, oh my God, it looks like they look awful.
Yeah, when you compare the Intrepid, this was the original Intrepid as it was in the original series.
Yeah.
Compared to the new one.
Yeah.
So it's keeping the same. It's an evolution, as a designer, Matt, as a character designer, you can see the lineage there. It's been done well, but I suppose how far do you push it before it loses its charm? How innovative can you be with those shapes, with those orientations, until the point where it loses its charm? I mean, one of the things that I loved about Discovery when it first started in those first 2 seasons was the starship, the Discovery itself. I thought it was just beautiful. Obviously, because that design had that lineage stretching right the way back to the aborted movie, the Wrath of the Titans thing, didn't it? And so when they went back to it and redesigned that for Series 3 and made it look all sort of sleeker, to me, it just lost all its character when they filled in all the various bits of bits that were missing and took other bits away. They made it look too slick, and it just looked like any other starship. But I do love all this stuff. I mean, there are entire YouTube channels that go really deep on starship design and sort of create their own, and all. It's fantastic stuff. I mean, awe of people who can do that. But yeah, I mean, that was the scene of the thing for me. The moment where the Intrepid and the Titan square off against one another. It was the closest I think we've had to a Star Trek 2 moment in this, between the Reliant, wasn't it, and the Enterprise in that. And it's. What are they going? This is the thing I love about this show, as cheesy as it can be at times, and I don't want to say it's derivative, but I sincerely don't think it is. But these are classic Star Trek beats that they're hitting to make sure that we're in no doubt we're watching a Star Trek show. But it still works. I think it works because we haven't heard this tune played for a very, very long time. It's been 20 years. When did Enterprise end? 2005. And I like the JJ movies, but they were quick fixes. They're over in 2 hours. This is something we can enjoy over a period of a couple of months and really sink into it. And I'm immensely grateful to Terry Matalas and everybody else.
I mean, they're trying to find the balance between the JJ version of Star Trek and Star Trek. This is what I feel about this series. I mean, it's a lot more Star Trek. Next Generation than the JJ thing. I find, the smoking and the expletes and and the bit of the violence, that's all JJ rubbish, but the most of it is mostly Next Generation stuff. I find there's a lot of callbacks to a lot of things, a lot of Star Trek stuff in this episode and the episode after it as well. So yeah.
One thing as I say, I've watched all of TNG all the way through 3 or 4 times, and you get a little bit tired. I mean, there's a certain warmth when you see the same effect sequences replayed over and over again. Yeah. They just change the color of the planet. With the Enterprise, whenever the Enterprise hits warp, it always looks exactly the same. But in this show, we never get that. Every time the Titan does something, it looks different, slightly different from how it did it before. Every moment is really, really cool. And so the ship never gets the wonder of the sights that we're being shown all these hundreds of years in our fictional future. It never bluntens its impact. I just think it's wonderful. That's why the ship's growing on me so much.
I wonder if it'll be out for sale. The toy version,
the model.
Oh, absolutely, more than likely.
Yeah. Eagle Moss collapsed, didn't it? But I gather that somebody's picking up the license there. Yeah.
The Titan.
The USS Titan.
That's great.
This is the what are they called? The boilerplate, isn't it? That they get on all these ships. And sometimes we get to see them. Other times we don't get to see them up close. But there's members that on this one you've got the cast and certainly the crew. You've got the production personnel there are all listed when you
all
go.
All free sprays in that one.
But I don't understand, Dan. So the two ships that you showed just now, the old one and the new one. So what it is that they rebuild it, and that's why they keep the name. That's what they do, right?
I think it's just like the Enterprise. They rebuild them. Yeah.
I reckon they'd have something on board of the original, just something.
I mean, this one, Matt, it's got a different number entirely. Whereas obviously the Enterprise keeps the 1701. They just update it with the letter. The Intrepid, the original Intrepid, and the new Intrepid have got 2 completely different numbers. So I wonder how they decide on that.
I still love those original ships.
Yeah, so do I. So, I mean, there's something like, for instance, those 2 pictures you sent, I'm probably guessing that they're both CGI. But the one at the top, the original one at the top, it feels like you can hold it. Do you know what I mean? This one, the Constitution one. But the other one, it just seems too perfect. Do you know what I mean? It just seems so, I don't know.
Well, yeah, the one of the new Intrepid, that is a computer-generated sort of working model, really. Whereas I think the picture on the left from the original show is taken from the show itself, or at least that's the screen used prop or a screen used prop that's been sort of maybe it's been tweaked a little.
Of the Enterprise that they've taken that they blew up from the previous one.
It almost certainly was. So yeah, I thought that was a really strong episode, it was my favourite episode of the bunch because of the visual kicks to it. at the emotional center of it, Matt. That's really important to giving us a rounded hour's worth of entertainment. The fact that it moved the arc on as well in a definite way. You know, they're not just letting that fester away in the background and think, oh, we'll wrap that up whenever, like a lot of scripts do. Something is happening in every scene all of the time, and some of it is offered with a lightness of touch, and other times it's offered with great weight, but it's constantly moving on. I always feel like there's never a scene wasted in this.
Yeah. Are you talking about the next episode?
This one, well, no, this one, but it goes for the entire
one.
show. Because when you look back across the stretch of all of them, really, it's been the same since this
I'm finding a real pattern with some of them. This one with Rolaren I enjoyed. Even though, you know, I'm just waiting for him to get off that damn ship.
I think that's the only thing. That's the only thing that I'm slightly missing, because everything that we're seeing is on starships. I would like them to go to an alien planet or to some sort of planet at some point.
Their budget was very low, though. For this one, it was lower than the other 2 seasons. So
I wonder why that was.
Wow.
But you know, I just I don't know. Some of it's just coming off a bit samey now. But yeah, no, I'm you know, strong characters, and that's the main thing. It's the actors that bring this to you know, I mean, you know, Ro, she just slipped straight back into character as soon as, you know,
it did seem like the same person. It did seem like the same person, didn't it? And those were the same relationships that all those decades in between had passed, and they were picking up conversations that they'd always wanted to have. Like Picard said at one point, I've rehearsed this conversation for the last 30 years. It's moments like that. I mean,
also Terry Matalas was saying that he had to explain it to the people above who she was, because originally he wanted it. He wanted her in, I can't remember, something, and they said, who is she? So he had to explain, he had to fight to actually have this character in the show. Apparently, that's what I read, or maybe I got that wrong. So there you go. So Orchie, and is it not Orchie? Who's the Klutzman? Didn't even know
Robert
who she was.
Orchie, and Alex, didn't he really?
Did not know who she was. So that's just how much they know Star Trek. But there you go.
Carl, the classic 80s fanboy, says that Ro betrayed Picard by joining the Maquis in the end.
He did, yeah.
And then ended up getting caught and arrested.
Yeah. That's why he was surprised to see her back in
Starfleet,
because that's how it was left, wasn't it? So,
because she was in prison. She was in prison. But at least they explained that.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Ro Laren. What a great character. This is a 10-episode run, and we are covering every single episode of Star Trek Picard Season 3 here in the Warp Drive segment of the Spacebook Live, and we'll be here for the remaining episodes as it works its way to its conclusion. Star Trek Picard Season 3 continues every Thursday on Paramount Plus. We get it in the UK on Amazon Prime the following day. I think most international markets get it when we get it too. So, yeah, that's it for this one. What would you give that, actually? If you had to give this a warp factor out of 5 imposters, Matt, what would you give it?
I was going to say a 7 out of 10, but I'll probably say a 3.
3. How about
3
you,
out of
Ian?
5?
3, definitely.
Give it a 3. I think I'd give it higher. I'd give it a 4. I think I'd give it a 4. But would I have given it a 4 last week? Or am I just giving it a 4 because I know that things get even better? I don't know. There's a lot of ifs and buts in that, isn't there? But let us know what you think of episode 5 Imposters in the comments section. Of course, as always.